Hello, welcome once again for this series of lectures on inverse Z transform. In the previous lecture, we had seen about the introduction to what is meant by inverse Z transform and what are the important Z transform pairs for causal and non-causal signals. One important thing we noted that two different signals can have the same Z transform, that is x of Z of two different signals can be same, but their ROCs will never be same. Their ROCs are always different. So it is the ROC which gives uniqueness to a signal. That's why ROC is very important. And we saw a table which gave us the important Z transform pairs. So this table is very much important. We have to use these standard pairs in order to solve the numericals for inverse Z transform. So now let us move forward for partial fraction expansion method. So partial fraction expansion method expresses the x of z as a ratio of two polynomials in the form of partial fractions. Okay, so this is a very popular method and a simple method. So given x of z, so this is type of numerical that is given, that is we are given x of z. So x of z is given like this along with the ROC. So ROC is given with x of z. If ROC is not given, then this has no meaning, because we will never be able to find out the inverse z transform, that is x of n for this x of z, because this x of z will correspond to other signals also, as we have seen in the Z transform pair. Okay, so we need to know the ROC. If we know the ROC, then only we can find out the x of n. So here the ROC is given and we have to take the hint here. It is ROC is mod of Z greater than 1. So greater than indicates that the answer should be a causal signal. Okay, because I told you that it is a property of ROC. In that case, when the ROC is exterior of Z, exterior of a circle, okay, it is that is mod of Z greater than A, then actually it corresponds to a causal signal. And whenever the ROC is like this, mod of Z less than A, that is interior of a circle, then it corresponds to a non-causal signal. So in our case, we should get the answer as a causal signal corresponding to this x of z. So let us try to solve this numerical. So first thing what we have to do is, like, you have to bring this on the LHS, this standard form, that is x of z upon z. So given this equation, I can take one z in the denominator like this. So I can get on the LHS x of z upon z is equal to, so one z will come here, so only one z will remain there. So it will be z upon these two factors. Okay, now I can express this as a sum of partial fractions. So one fraction is a upon z minus 1 plus b upon z minus 0.5. Okay, then I can solve to find out these values of a and b. So this is the simple method. How do you solve? You rearrange the terms. So a will be equal to, so this is z minus 1, so I multiply this z minus 1 with this x z upon z, and I evaluate it for z equal to 1. So this is what we have studied in mathematics to solve the partial fraction expansion. So after substituting here, okay, at z equal to 1 in this, okay, after substituting here, you will get a is equal to 2. So you can put x of z is equal to z upon z minus 1 into z minus 0.5. So this z minus 1, z minus 1 will get cancelled, and when you put the values of z here, which is equal to 1, you will get this 2. So I insist you to solve this on your own in the notebook, so that you will get the answer as 2. Similarly, you go ahead for solving for b, you will get it as minus 1. So we get these constants a and b. So we can write this expansion of x of z upon z as 2 upon z minus 1 minus 1 upon z minus 0.5. Okay, so we have got this now. So we can take this z on this side, right hand side. So I have to multiply both the fractions by z. So it will be simply 2z upon z minus 1 minus z upon z minus 0.5. Okay, so now if I want to have the negative powers of z, okay, the same expression if I want in the negative powers of z, what I can do is I can divide the numerator and denominator by z in both these fractions. Okay, so if I divide the numerator by z and denominator by z, I will get 2 upon, so z upon z is 1, so 2 will come this side, 2 upon 1 minus z raised to minus 1, because 1 upon z is nothing but z raised to minus 1. Similarly, I will get here 1 upon 1 minus 0.5 z raised to minus 1. So I got this x of z. Why I have brought this in this form? Because these are my standard forms. If you remember, I was having the z standard forms in the form of this 1 upon 1 minus z raised to minus 1. So this is my standard form. Okay. So I have to get in the negative powers of z. Okay, that's why I have divided by z on the numerator and denominator, so that I get negative powers of z. Now from this, okay, I have to find out the standard pairs. Okay, so now if you see here, I have got the standard pair 1 upon 1 minus z raised to minus 1. Okay, so it is 1 upon 1 minus z raised to minus 1. But whether this is u of n or minus u of minus n minus 1, I cannot say unless I look at the ROC. So what is given? The ROC is given as mod of z greater than 1 in the numerical itself, in the question itself. Okay, so this suggests that since the ROC is mod of z greater than 1, so this has to be a causal signal. Okay, so this has to be a causal signal. It cannot be a non-causal signal. So I use the standard pair here. Okay, so 2 is a constant, so 2 will come outside. So 1 upon 1 minus z raised to minus 1, using the standard pair, it is u of n. So simply I write here, this is nothing but 2 into u of n. Similarly, I compare this with the standard pair 1 upon 1 minus a into z raised to minus 1. Okay, so 1 upon 1 minus a into z raised to minus 1. Okay, and since it is causal, I will get a raised to n u of n, that means 0.5 raised to n u of n. So I'll get here 0.5 raised to n u of n. So this is my second z transform. Okay, second inverse z transform. Okay, now I just combine these two equations, so I can just, what is the inverse z transform of x of z? It will be x of n. So I take the inverse z transform here. So x of n is equal to 2 into u of n minus this sign 0.5 raised to n u of n. So this is your final answer. So this is how we get the inverse z transform by just by the method called as the partial fraction expansion. So summarizing, what we have to remember here is that whenever the numerical of inverse z transform using partial fraction expansion is asked, okay, so you have to be very careful about what type of signals you will be getting. So if you see this, our final signal is a causal signal because it is multiplied by u of n, and u of n exists only for positive values of n. It doesn't exist for negative values of n. Hence, this is our causal signal. Okay, we have got the causal signal because the ROC is given as mod of z greater than 1. So greater than signifies that our signal time domain signal will be a causal signal. Okay, so simply you have, this is mathematics, you have to find out the partial fraction coefficients, okay, by solving like this, and then use the standard pair. So that's why I told you in the last lecture that these are the very important standard pairs. So whatever numericals we solve on the inverse Z transform using partial fraction expansion, we have to make use of all these pairs. Okay, so these pairs should be fixed in our mind. It should be by hearted in our mind, so that whenever we get a Z transform of this form, we should be able to understand, we should be able to interpret what will be the time domain representation of this Z transform corresponding to the ROC that is given. Okay, so this is how we interpreted Z upon Z minus 1, converted into the standard pair, then we found out its time domain equivalent. Okay, and then we specified the final answer. Okay, so this is how we solve the numericals of inverse Z transform using partial fraction expansion. Now in this case, there can be a variety of numericals for inverse Z transform. Okay, so it can be different numericals wherein you will be given different Z transforms x of z with the ROC, and you have to find out the time domain representation of such signals. Okay, so in this case here, if you see here, okay, if the numerical is specified like this, okay, in this case if the numerical is specified like this in the negative powers of z, but now you want when you want to solve this numerical, okay, you should have the standard form like this, x of z upon z. Now how to get this? So in order to get this x of z upon z, what we can do is, since here it is a z raised to minus 1, okay, in order to get here the power with the z here, okay, what we have to do, we have to multiply this by z square. See here there are two z squares, so multiply the numerator and denominator by z square. Okay, so if you multiply the numerator and denominator by the z square, you will get 1 upon 4 into z upon this. Okay, now you can take this z in the numerator, in the denominator like this. So this z you can take in the numerator like this, denominator, and on the RHS you can express it as a partial fraction. Okay, so let us continue with this numerical in the next lecture. Okay, so this is how the numerical may be given in a different form.